Which then that brings me to another concept that I'm very curious about your take on, because you've had so much longer of a span to be thinking about these things. What do you think is news to you? You know, like, what is it that is information that you like say, hey, I need this information in order to operate in the world? Are you watching the major news outlets? Are you reading newspapers? How do you think about what is news?
Uh, Presently, I'm having a very difficult time with that. Uh, I have lost trust in network news for sure. Uh, I'm having more and more difficulty separating news in a sense that finding absolutely pure news, I'm not sure I know where to get it, Vance. I really am having a hard time right now. I can't tell you one source where I can go get real on and feel comfortable that I've got honest news.
Is that different than the past? Did you feel like you
Yes,
had
I
good
mean, and I don't know if it was any better in the past or it's back to that old word trust again. That I had trust in the past that I don't have today. You know, you know, it seemed more straightforward. My best example, I think, is some of the reporters that covered the Vietnam War, which was a big deal in my lifetime, affected my generation hugely. Um, and some of the reporters back then, and I don't even remember all their names, probably I thought did a really good job, and it was something I wanted to see because I had a lot of friends over there and knew where they were and what part of the country they were in over there, and what was going on. But at that period of time, I trusted that news, trusted those newscasters. But from that point on, it seemed to be a slow, continual evolution to more opinionated rhetoric rather than news. I mean, news was the planes hit the Twin Towers and we watched them crash to the ground. That was news. Pure, ugly news. But that is one of the biggest events. I was sitting on the edge of my bed getting ready to go to a conference in Whitefish, Montana, with a bunch of dairy marketing regulators, far away from home, when that came on TV. And I sat there and watched what was going on and watched the second plane hit. And that was pure, unrestricted news. Now, to find that on a daily basis, very, very difficult.
Yeah, and you had made an observation the other day that blew my mind. We had watched Hunt for the Red October as a movie night, and you made the comparison of the Cold War, where we're at like a nuclear détente with the Soviet Union or Russia, and COVID. And I was shocked by that when you first said it. But the more that I've thought about things through that prism, it really does feel that way, that politicians use it to say, you should be afraid, but be afraid from this angle. And then another politician comes in and says, no, that's not the angle to be afraid from this angle. And all of it almost equals, this is why you should give my party power to be able to fight this existential dread that you have out there on the horizon.
Yeah, and that's very discomforting right now to me and to others in my generation, that very discomforting because we see these similarities that, that we have this mind manipulation going on, and it's troubling because, when you look back to the generation before, and the idea that the Hitler's machine and propaganda machine, and I read a lot of books about the Third Reich and how that all came about in my earlier days, 30, 40 years ago, and still look back as a reference on some of the things that happened, and the young people, those young Nazis that were so wanted to be a part of it so much, and you see the old films of them all cheering and singing and all. They felt like they were enlightened, and they thought they were doing good, and it made them feel powerful, and that was cultivated by a political movement. And we see these struggles with the different political movements we have going on in the world right now, in the developed countries especially, and it is scary because I don't think we know today which way this seesaw is going to tip.
Yeah, movements, like political movements, are so scary because they show the herd-like nature of human beings. And like you said, when the group is getting together in a herd, it maybe starts off that they come together because they're afraid of something. But then when they start moving as a way of like, well, we have this truth and we need to move that forward to help people get away from the thing that they're afraid of or the thing that is causing all these problems for us. And you start seeing that mob move forward. The faster they move, the scarier it is. And just like you said, like those people that are involved in a movement, and when I say those people, it could just as easily be me. I'm not putting myself above the fray of human behavior. They feel so good about what they're doing. It's no different than a religious movement. When you found Jesus or you found some savior, it's no different. You have all that wiring is already in your head.
You're exactly right. And it just brought something back to me, to experience my wife and I had when we were working on a project in France. On the weekend, 2 different weekends. One was a trip to Taizé. Are you familiar with Taizé, where it's a religious place where the primarily Catholic, where all the young people go, and it's a big deal. It's very spiritual and so forth. It's very upbeat. But anyway, we went there and visited there, and we did some praying and so forth, and experienced it, not when there was huge numbers of people there, but young people from all over the world go there. And then on another weekend, we go to this farm festival we were looking at, and we were with a young French person and another American young lady, and we went to, but let's go this weekend. So we're going down these little narrow streets where a Volkswagen Golf is about all you could get down through it. That's what they're like. And we get to this farm festival, and we're there, and we're, think, wow, this is a little different. What's going on here? And we, are there an hour or so and realize that we are right in the middle of Communist Party rally.
Thanks for checking out this podcast short. If you like this interview, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and hit that bell so you always get notified about this podcast. And if you're really interested in conversations like this, you may want to consider joining the Articulate Ventures Network. To find out more, go to network.articulate.ventures.